Hello, and welcome to Super Great Kids Stories, wise tales from around the world which will make you laugh and sometimes cry. Recommended for ages 5 to 105. I'm Kim, and I love stories. Hello, Super Great Kids. Welcome to our Halloween edition. Now, I just want to say that this story is a scary story for Halloween. So if you don't like scary stories, stop listening now and move to our next story, The Three Little Pigs, which is more of a fun story. This story is from Russia. It's about a witch, the scariest witch in the world, and her name is Baba Yaga. Do you know what she eats for breakfast? No, not Cheerios. No, not toast or marmalade. No, for breakfast every morning, Baba Yaga eats a child. Crunchy, munchy, yum, yum, yum. Baba Yaga has spiky white hair and long, bony fingers. And she flies around in a cauldron and sweeps her way through the sky with a broom. Now, I wonder if you'd like to be a witch on Halloween, or if you'd rather dress up as a giant, or a zombie, or a wolf. Well, you have a little think about that while we have a quick word with the grown-ups. Hello, Super Great Kids. Are you ready for this story? As they say in Russia, davno, davno. A long time ago. So long ago that nobody but the storytellers remember, there was a kind and beautiful young girl called Vasilisa. Now, sadly, as in so many fairy tales, Vasilisa's mum died. And the day she died, she gave her daughter a beautiful little doll wearing a blue hat. Take this doll and keep her close. And if ever you're in trouble, ask her for help, and she'll keep you safe. Now, Vasilisa got a new mother, a stepmother, and she was a nasty piece. She and her 2 piggy-nosed daughters hated Vasilisa because she was so kind and sweet and lovely. Every day they gave her chores. Vasilisa, sweep the floor. Vasilisa, chop the wood. Vasilisa, fetch the water. And I'm sorry to have to tell you that Vasilisa often went to bed with her tummy rumbling. But as soon as everyone was asleep, she would creep to the woodshed, take out her doll and ask her for help. And just holding her doll made her feel better. And the next day, the doll would do all the work, sweep the floor, fetch the water, chop the wood, weed the vegetables and light the stove. While all the while, Vasilisa would look for mushrooms and berries to eat. But the stepmother and stepsisters were not happy. They were jealous. They wanted to get rid of Vasilisa, and they came up with a plan to drive her from the surface of the earth. I know, said the stepmother. Let's make the fire burn out, and then we can send Vasilisa into the dark forest to ask Baba Yaga the witch for some of her fire. And then Baba Yaga will eat her for her breakfast. Now, Baba Yaga lives in a house in the forest which moves about on chicken legs. And that house is surrounded by a fence, and on top of that fence are skulls which glow with red-hot coals, so the whole house is surrounded by a circle of red, creepy light. That evening, when Vasilisa came home from collecting wood, her house was in darkness. Vasilisa was a bit afraid. What can we do? Vasilisa asked her stepmother and her stepsisters. If we don't have light, we can't sew and we can't light the stove to warm our hands either.
Vasilisa? Shrieked the stepmother. Are you completely stupid? The fire has gone out, our candles have all gone out, and now we have no light at all to do our sewing. Someone has to run to Baba Yaga and fetch a glowing coal to light our fire. And that someone, Vasilisa, is you.
And Vasilisa didn't have a tantrum. She didn't say, "Are you kidding?" She just went out into the deep, dark forest. The owls were calling, and there were no stars. Very quietly, she tiptoed along the path, looking for Baba Yaga's hut, which moved around on chicken legs. But how was she going to find it? That's right. She reached into her apron pocket, and there was her little doll with the blue hat. "Don't worry," said her little doll. "Keep me near you, and I'll show you the way." The doll told her to go this way and that way and that way and this way until, all of a sudden, she arrived in a clearing. And in that clearing was Baba Yaga's house, surrounded by a fence decorated with a circle of skulls which glowed with red, hot coals. Tss, tss, tss. And suddenly, as if out of nowhere, Baba Yaga came. "Baba Yaga, Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo. Baba Yaga, Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo." And she said, "I smell with my long bony nose a Russian girl with tasty toes." And Vasilisa, who was shaking with fear, stepped forward and said, "Here I am, Granny."
"What do you want?"
asked Baba Yaga. "Well, our house was cold because the fire went out, and my stepmother sent me to get some fire from you."
"Ah!" shrieked Baba Yaga. "You useless child! What a thing to do! Let the fire go out indeed. Tell me, why should I give you my fire?"
And Vasilisa touched the little doll in her pocket and said, "Because I asked you."
"Aren't you the lucky one?" said Baba Yaga. "That is the right answer. Come with me."
Then Baba Yaga shouted at her gate, which was made of pointy teeth.
"Gate, gate, unlock my locks."
The gate creaked open, and Baba Yaga climbed into her cauldron and flew into her yard, muttering, "Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo. Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo." A black goose, sleeping on the roof of the hut, flew down and hissed at Vasilisa. "Tss, tss, tss."
"Leave her, Varanushka. She is with me,"
insisted Baba Yaga. Once inside the chicken hut, Baba Yaga ate stew and drank kvass and beer, and all she left for Vasilisa was a bit of cabbage soup. Before she went to bed, Baba Yaga said to Vasilisa,
"Now, you must wash the dishes, sweep the house, and then go into the yard where you'll find a heap of wheat and wild peas. You must sort the peas from the wheat, and if you don't, in the morning I'll eat you for breakfast."
Baba Yaga crunch, Baba Yaga munch, Baba Yaga. And with that, she lay down on her bed of bones and began snoring through her long, bony nose. "Baba Yaga, Baba Yaga, Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga, Baba Yaga, Baba Yaga, Baba Yaga." Vasilisa swept the house. Ch, 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 ch. Vasilisa dried the dishes. Squeak, 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 squeak. Then she went into the yard, and when she saw the enormous pile of wheat all mixed up with the wild peas, she burst into tears. "I'll never get this done before morning." She put her hand in her pocket, and there was her little doll with the blue hat. "Don't worry, Vasilisa. Finish your soup, say your prayers, and go to bed. The morning is wiser than the evening."
Vasilisa woke up early, and there in the yard was a huge pile of peas and a huge pile of wheat. In swooped Baba Yaga with her white hair flying behind her.
Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo. Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo.
Well, is everything done?
Look for yourself and see, Grandma, said Vasilisa. It's all done.
Baba Yaga looked very disappointed. There was nothing to grumble about. Right, now you must wash the dishes, sweep the house, and then, Vasilisa, take the poppy seeds from the shed and clean the dirt out of them grain by grain. And if you don't, then tonight I'll eat you for dinner. Crunchy munchy, yum, yum, yum.
She went into the yard, whistled for her cauldron and broom. The sun rose, and off she flew, sweeping her tracks out of the sky with the broom. Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo. Baba Yaga, hoo, hoo.
Now Vasilisa was all alone. Vasilisa swept the house. Ch, 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 ch. Vasilisa dried the dishes. Squeak, 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 squeak. Then she went to the storehouse and looked at the mountain of dirt and poppy seeds, and she burst into tears. How am I going to finish that before tonight? But who did she have to help her? That's right, the doll, of course. All day long the doll worked, and Vasilisa rested. Just as the sun was setting, in swooped Baba Yaga with her white hair flying behind her. Well, is everything done?
Look for yourself and see, Grandma, said Vasilisa. It's all done.
Baba Yaga looked very disappointed. All right, I have a question for you. Be sure to answer it correctly. How do you finish all this work I give you?
Ah, it is because of my mother's love, said Vasilisa. My mother's blessing helps me.
Ugh! A curse on your mother's blessing. Get out of here. I don't need anyone with blessings polluting my house. Be off with you. Get out, get out, get out! Shrieked Baba Yaga. She dragged Vasilisa out of the room, pushed her through the gate, and grabbed a skull with glowing eyes off the fence. She stuck it on a stick and handed it to Vasilisa. Take this and give it to your stepmother and her daughters. That's what they sent you for, and that's what they shall have.
Polite Vasilisa was about to thank Baba Yaga, but the little doll began to jump up and down in her pocket, and Vasilisa kept very quiet. Slowly Vasilisa walked through the dark, dark forest, holding up the glowing skull on the end of her stick. And the little doll told her to go this way and that way and that way and this way until, all of a sudden, she could see her house. Back in the cottage, the stepmother and stepsisters watched the red glow coming towards them closer and closer, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. They thought Vasilisa had been gone for so long she must have been eaten by Baba Yaga. But do you know, they were actually pleased to see her, because since she'd left, the house had been freezing. No matter what fire they borrowed from the neighbours, it would go out the instant they brought it into the room. Bring it in, you wretched child. Let's hope Baba Yaga's fire will last, said her stepmother. But the instant Vasilisa brought the skull on the pole into the front room, the skull's eyes fixed on the stepmother and her two daughters, glowing like red hot coals. The eyes followed the stepmother and her daughters around the room. Tss! Ouch! They shouted and leapt around. Too hot, too hot! Tss! Ouch, ouch! Too hot! And those eyes burned so brightly and held their gaze so tightly that in the morning
all that was left of the stepmother and her 2 daughters were 3 piles of ash on the floor. And so Vasilisa locked up the house and buried the skull. And she travelled far and she travelled wide and she travelled far, and one day she met her love, and she and her doll and her love lived happily ever after. And do you know, as long as she lived, she always carried that little doll in her pocket close to her heart. And as for Baba Yaga, what happened to her? Ah, well, that's another story for another day. Click, clack, clout. That story is out.
Ooh, well done you for listening to that story all the way through. I'm a little bit pleased that Vasilisa escaped from her mean stepmother and sisters. I wonder if you could draw a picture of Baba Yaga flying through the air in her cauldron, using her broom to sweep away her tracks through the sky. I particularly want to thank all our followers in Calgary in Canada. Lots of you seem to be finding us in Canada at the moment. Welcome to our family. Now, a quick dip into my bag of happies. Thanks to Felix, who is 8, from Clevedon in Somerset. Felix drew an expressive picture of El Cangrejo, the bullying crab. And thanks to Connie and Arthur from London, who sent a great picture of Mrs. Rabbit and the fox. And Van, who has just turned 5, sent in a beautiful picture of the magic orange tree. Thanks for that, Van. And Ella, who is 4, from Michigan, drew a lovely picture of the crane girl and sent it via our website on the same day that the story was told. Well done, Ella. And a big thanks to Mariah, who is 7, from Rotorua in New Zealand, for her 2 pictures of Baba Yaga's house and how the snakes got their poison. Thanks very much for that, Mariah. And thanks to Nicole, who is our very first Patreon member. Thank you, Nicole. And a very big thanks to all the grown-ups who are supporting us on Apple Podcasts, Patreon and Ko-fi. If you'd like to support us, you can find more details about how to subscribe on our website at supergreatkidsstories.com. And remember, this is just the first of our 2 stories for Halloween. Do check out our 3 Little Pigs story, which we're telling you as a Halloween extra. Thank you all for listening. See you soon. And whatever else happens, keep telling those stories. And thanks very much to our sponsors.